Hey, so sorry for this weird angle. My camera is having some issues right now, but I was gonna make this video a little later on, but I really couldn't help it and just have to. So I'm gonna talk about the Red Rising trilogy today, and I'm very excited. This is one of my favorite series, and I will say that a lot, but this one is epic. I mean, amazing. The book is compared to a lot of books. Under Katniss Now Darrow, which I don't really like, but so you don't want to go in here knowing about the story. Just kind of, if you can read the blurb, but don't listen to all the reviews you hear because so many people say so many different things. And well, you can listen to the ones that say like good character development or like cool story. I don't know, things like that. But don't let the idea that it's identical to other stories get in your head because it's so different from the things it's been compared to. So yeah. Okay. So Darrow is a Red, a member of the lowest caste in the color-coded society of the future. Like his fellow Reds, he works all day, believing that he and his fellow people are making the surface of Mars livable for future generations. Yet he spends his life willingly, knowing that his blood and sweat will one day result in a better world for his children. But Darrow and his kind have been betrayed. Soon he discovers that humanity already reached the surface generations ago. Vast cities and sprawling parts spread across this planet. Darrow, and Reds like him, are nothing more than slaves to a decadent ruling class. I'm so sorry. Inspired by a longing for justice and driven by the memory of lost love, Darrow sacrifices everything to infiltrate the legendary Institute, a proving ground for the dominant Gold caste, where the next generation of humanity's overlords struggle for power. He will be forced to compete for his life and the very future of civilization against the best and most brutal of society's ruling class. There, he will stop at nothing to bring down his enemies, even if it means he has to become one to do so. I'm sorry for my pronunciation. That was not the best moment in my life. But anyway, so that's what you know. And I know you might be thinking, "Oh, Hunger Games." I mean, it does sound a lot like it. That's what I thought when I first picked it up. But when you get into the world, it's so different from so many dystopias, just because part of it is it's set on Mars. The society is in the solar system. Earth is a planet, but it's not the planet. In Red Rising, Mars is the main planet, and Golden Sun, they go out to the moon or Luna, and I think they go to Jupiter. It's hard. The world is one of the hardest things to grasp because you there's so many things to learn, but you don't want to pack them all into one little moment. And so you kind of have to pick up things as you go. And so it's it's hard to get into that as far as that goes. And it's one of those kind of worlds where you're like, okay, what is going on? And sometimes you forget, oh wait, who's this character then? I've been so focused on the world. And part of me, I relate that to Lord of the Rings a bit because there are moments when you're reading it and the world is huge and it's complicated and it's not an easy concept, but the story is so cool. And at the end, when you finish it, you're just like, it was so worth all that time kind of going, what's going on, and having to reread things and go back and all that stuff. And it's so totally worth it. And the author, Pierce Brown, he's really cool. I met him at Comic-Con 2014 in New York City, and that's kind of when I found out about the series. And so I was like, oh, I'm gonna read it, and I'm gonna like say hi and get it signed or whatever. And so I did. And funny story, so I hadn't read it, of course, and so he signed it. I felt very special. His pen like ran out, so there's like an indent. So if you want a copy of his signature, just a little, paper pencil. Well, first off, I was like, what does that mean? I mean, I wouldn't know what that means. I mean, what? And then it says live for more. But when I first saw it, I thought it said live for mom. And I was just like, what? What's the point in that? And then I was just like, oh, it says live for now. And I was like, oh, that's what it means. But then and that was even when I was reading the story. And then I got to some point, I'm just like, more. Yep, that's what it means. But that's what it says, live for more. And so he's a cool guy. He's kind of cute. Um, and it's weird. I know some other people have had this, but when I was reading it, I pictured him as Darrow, which might have been partly just because I was still grasping the world and trying to figure it all out, or maybe I just like see him as Darrow. All the characters though in Red Rising are really cool. I'm really happy with his female characters because lots of the time you have some cool female characters who you're like, yeah, awesome in books, and usually that can be the protagonist, like Katniss or Triss or Clary. Yeah, Clary. Um, and but I've been so happy with all his characters and especially his female ones because I think it's really important personally just to have strong female characters because that's something that I really like. All his, I mean, really interesting character development and character relationships and just all the things he does with them are really cool and I've really liked seeing. Sometimes you, I mean, it's not an easy story. It's, you know, feels. That's something that happens. But I've cried a lot over these books. But they're amazing and the characters, like I said, are just sometimes some of them just keep you guessing. Others you're like, am I gonna end up liking this person? It's like, oh wait, they're gonna die, aren't they? That happens a lot. But there's so much to think about. I mean, so much. And so that's Red Rising. And then Golden Sun, I'm reading it slowly because I really don't want it to end because I know I'm going to be like, what's going to happen next? And Morning Star, I mean, the cover is like awesome. I mean, it's so much better. It's so much cooler. They expand it so much. They go everywhere. It really begins in this one. It really feels like a sci-fi. It really, I mean, they're in space. They're in spaceships. All this stuff. I'm feeling the Star Wars, not so much the Star Trek, but a little Star Wars in there almost. Which he likes Star Wars apparently, so maybe that's some inspiration. And so the day I got it, it was the release day, and I was on the way back home with my mom. I'm like, oh, should I read the acknowledgments just because they're back here? And the acknowledgments are seriously in Golden Sun are some of the sweetest things I have ever read. It made me cry, partly because he talked about Lord of the Rings in there. I was just like, and the book is, I mean, Darrow is an interesting character. He makes you think. Sometimes you wonder, is he a good guy or is he kind of bad? Because, I mean, he kills people. He kills a lot of people. And then there's other characters that you get to know and you just fall in love with, and some you'll just really hate. I mean, Severo. Hashtag save Severo. I mean, seriously. Yeah, he's awesome. It's really, really interesting to see what he's done with the characters in the world and kind of where they go and where are they gonna go and what are you gonna do with Darrow? What are you gonna do with all these other characters? And how's he going to fulfill his plan? I mean, that's the whole story. He's trying to fulfill his plan and everything. And so you're just kind of like, how's he going to do that? And I really like seeing that. One of the really cool things in Golden Sun is that there's a lot more Latin used, and I love that. I take Latin, and so I think it's really cool and, keeps me up to date. Uh, and so that's just really cool. I think I have it marked. One of my favorite Latin lines in this book. Yes, omnis vir lupus. It means everyone a wolf, and that's Severo. I don't know, I just love that, and there's so many cool things. I mean, the biggest thing is Hic sunt leonis, which is here be lions, and cool. I mean, it's cool to have the tagline pretty much of your book be in Latin. Like, that's awesome. And just all the quotes in here are just amazing. I found so many that just like really touch me. They're amazing, and I know they're maybe gonna be making a movie adaptation, which I think would be amazing. I mean, there's part of me, I mean, I'm an actress, and so, well, not like professionally, um, but I've always been like, if you ever need someone, I'm right here. I can dye my hair. I'm gonna bleach it. I'll do whatever you want me to do. I will so be doing something. Anyway, I think that's gonna be really cool, and it'll be really cool to see where it goes, and that definitely will open it up to the teen audience. I'm positive almost, and so I think that'll be cool. That'll be interesting. It's one of those books though for me where I'm like, I want people to read it. I really do. I mean, by all means, this is an amazing book. You should read it. But it's one of those where you're like, no, it's my book. No, go into it with an open mind, and your mind will explode by the end. So, one more little story. Uh, so I have many horrible, horrible jokes, and one of them, I was on vacation and I got a little tan, and I'm like, usually I'm like the offspring of Voldemort and a vampire, but yeah, I was kind of tan, and my mom's like, you look kind of brown. And I was like, it's so brown, you could almost say it's piercing. But um, that's I think that is the worst joke I have told in my entire life, and I've told many jokes, but I'm very ashamed of that one. But also really proud of it at the same time. I think it's awesome. It's horrible. Anyway, I hope you liked this. I had a lot of fun making this. I was just like, I have to talk about this book. And I'll definitely talk about it more at some point. Don't know when, but it's gonna be there. And if you haven't read it, you should read it. Stay tuned for more videos. I'll probably Fall Out Boy's new album came out, so probably be talking about them in the near future. Yeah. So I hope you liked this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and tell your friends if they like this kind of stuff. Subscribe, I don't know, comment, whatever you want to do. If you meet Pierce Brown, say hi. I don't know. Anyway, that's kind of the gist of it. So, yeah. See ya.